All right, guys, let's knock out this practice test. Practice test 7. Number 1 through 3 all use the same functions. Given that f of x is this function, g of x is that function, find each of the following. F minus g of 2. So 2 ways you can do this. You can plug 2 into f and 2 into g and work that out and just subtract. Or you can go ahead and subtract the functions. The easiest thing for me to do in the video is to subtract the functions. So I'm going to do f minus g, so which is x squared minus 2 minus 3x plus 1. If I do that subtraction, I get minus 3x minus 1, which ends up being x squared minus 3x minus 3. Now, it said f minus g of 2, so I'm going to plug a 2 in here. If I plug 2 in and square it, that's 4. If I do 3 times 2, that's minus 6 minus 3. If I add those up, I get negative 5, and that's the first one. The second one says f times g of 3. I'll do this one the other way to show you. I'm going to take the 3 and plug it in right here into f. 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. So f of 3 is 7. If I do g of 3, if I plug the 3 into g right there, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 7 times 10 is 70. And there's that one. I'm going to do the same thing for 3. I'm going to plug the 3 in to f, which would be 3 squared minus 2. I should have shown the work on the last one. I plug it into g, I would get 3 times 3 plus 1, my denominator. So my numerator is going to be 7. The denominator is going to be 10. And there you go, 7/10. Number 4, got to find all kinds of stuff. It gives you 2 functions, f and g again, and asks you to find f plus g of x, f minus g, f times g, f divided by g, g divided by f, and find the domain of each one. So the domain of each is answer, when you combine the functions, is the domain of this function and the domain of that function put together, which are both all reals because there's no fractions. And there's no square roots, so it's all real and all real. So the only time we have to worry is when we do the division, because we cannot have a 0 on the denominator. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. If you do f plus g of x, I'm just going to put f plus g. You're just going to add 3x minus 1 plus 4x squared. That's all there is to it. F minus g, I'm going to do 3x minus 1 minus 4x squared. Minus sign didn't show up. There it is. F times g of x, I'm just going to distribute right here. I guess I can show you 3x minus 1 times 4x squared and work that out. I'll get 12x cubed minus 4x squared. F divided by g, I'm going to say that's just putting f on top of g. And then when you go g divided by f, you just go opposite and you put 4x squared on top of 3x minus 1. And there's all the functions. Now, I still find the domain of each. Now, because this one has no fractions, no decimals, your domain is all reals, which you can write like this. Same thing for the second one, no fractions. This one, same thing, no fractions. This one, though, when you get down to here, you would have to say x cannot be 0 because 0 would make the denominator 0. When you get to this one, you would have to say, okay, x cannot equal 1/3 because 1/3 to make the denominator 0. And the way you do that, you can pull the denominator over here to the side somewhere and just set it equal to 0 and solve it and get 1/3. Or what x cannot equal is always going to be the opposite of the second number over the first every single time. Okay, let me erase those real quick so I have room for the next problem. All right, number 5. Write the, it's a little bit too big here. All right, sorry about that. Number 5, for the function, simplify the difference quotient. Now, I will tell you this tomorrow, but the difference quotient is f of, come on now, f of, sorry about this, a plus h minus f of a over h. That's an h. So I'm just going to plug, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure this out first. Let's go ahead and figure out f of a plus h, which is 6 times a plus h plus 2, which simplifies to 6a plus 6h plus 2. F of a is just absolutely plugging an a in for the x, so it's just 6a plus 2. So now I'm just going to work that whole big thing out right there. So f of a plus h comes first. That was 6a plus 6h plus 2. Minus f of a, which was 6a plus 2, all over h. If I start working out my numerator, I get 6a plus 6h plus 2 minus 6a minus 2 all over h. And what's going to happen 6a's cancel, 2's cancel. It leaves me 6h over h. The h's cancel there. It's just 6. All right, and it's gonna work out really nice like that for tomorrow too. Not as bad as it looks. It's kind of bad. Number 6, find the intervals here, increasing, decreasing, constant. It is definitely increasing on this part of the graph right there. Remember, use the x only use the x. It's increasing from -5 to +1. Then it is constant from +1 to +3 right here. And it's decreasing right there. It is decreasing from +3 to +5 where it ends. Number 7, determine the range, domain and range for that function. But you can look at your practice test and see, domain is how far it's going left to right. And that graph is going left to right from -5. This is domain, by the way. From -5 all the way until it gets to +5. Left to right. Range, remember, when you do range, you go down to up. The lowest point in range is the y coordinate. The lowest point on that graph is a -3 for the y, and the highest point on that graph is a +3 for the y. All right, number 8, graph that function in your calculator. Terminal intervals of the function is increasing and decreasing, and then your relative or maxima or minima. All right, I'm going to graph on the calculator, and I'll draw a picture here of what it's going to look like. By the way, the absolute value button on your calculator is in math. If you go to math and on the top go to num, you'll see it right off right there. So I'm going to put a rough sketch of what my graph look like. Absolute value is always a V shape, and the V did this. It hit the x-axis at 5 like this and bounced right back up. So it's decreasing from, remember, x is only from -infinity until it gets to the 5. And then it starts increasing once it gets to the 5 until it goes to forever. And what's the max or min? It has one min, it's right there. One relative min has no relative maxes. And that relative min occurs at the point 5, 0. Number 9, find 3 things here. Find h of -4, h of -6, and h of 3. First of all, h of -4, you got to figure out where it goes. H of -4 is between -5 and 1, so I'm going to plug it in that second one. There's nowhere to plug it in, it's just 1. The second part says h of -6. -6 is definitely less than -5, so I'm going to plug it in that top function right there. It's going to be -3 times -6 minus 18. If you work that out, you're going to get 0. H of 3 is 100% bigger than 1, so I'm going to plug it in that bottom one right there. 3 plus 2, which is 5. So there's my 3 answers right there, 1, 0, and 5. All right, number 10, draw the piecewise. All right, so remember how we roll here. I'm going to start off by taking that 0 right there and plugging it in. If I plug 0 in right there, I get 2. I'm going to fill in the circle because there's an equal sign. And now it says go left. All right, it says go left. So I'm going to go left. 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to go left. What's the best way we can go? I'm going to plug in -1. Okay, I'm going to go left. I'm going to plug in -1. If I plug in -1, I get this -1 times -1/3 plus 2. That's going to be 2 plus 1/3, which is 2 1/3. All right, so I plugged in -1, and I got 2 1/3, which is about, it's not very far up. It's about, about right there. It's going to be a line, so it's going to connect those dots. La, la, la. There's the first part. Second part, take the 0, plug it in the bottom one. Oh, by the way, that should say great. Let's change this to greater than. It should be greater than right there. Plug 0 in there. 0 minus 5 is -5. Coming down here, it is a empty circle because there's no equal sign. And I'm going to go to the right, so I'm going to go over 1. I'm going to plug in 1 because that's next to the right of 0. If I plug in 1, 1 minus 5 is -4, so it's right there. And because it's going to be a line also, I can connect those. And that's what your graph should look like. Again, you need to change that to greater than. Let's see if 11's on this page. Nope. Number 11, this is where the review stuff starts. Write a slope-intercept formula and pass it to this point. Remember, it passes to the point because it works, and it's parallel to this line. Now, looking at that line, I know for a fact the slope is 2. So I'm going to use this slope and that point. Sorry about that, got interrupted even though you probably don't know I did. Okay, so Use point slope form. So I'm gonna go y minus 6 equals the slope. This is the parallel one, by the way. The slope times x plus 1 because it was a -1. So just distribute the 2. Get 2x plus 2. Move the 6 over. If I move that 6 over, it becomes plus 8 because 2 plus 6 is 8 when you move the 6. Now there's the first one. When you go perpendicular, same point, except now I'm going to use the opposite reciprocal of 2, which is -1/2. So I'm going -1/2 times x plus 1 this time. So I'm going to distribute the -1/2, make it -1/2 x minus 1/2. Move the 6 over again. This is the part that worries me every week. If I move the 6 over, it becomes plus 6. I'm doing 6 times 2 is 12, minus 1 on top is 11. So I get 11/2, and there's that one. All right, number 12. That 3 on the outside goes for everything inside. So I'm going to cube everything. If I do 3 cubed, I'm doing this first. 3 cubed is 27. Whenever you have an exponent inside and outside, you multiply your exponent. That's going to be a -12. That's going to be a -24. And the z is going to have a -9. Now, if you notice all the variables need to be flipped because of the negative exponent. So the z9 goes to the top, the x12 goes to the bottom, as does the y to the 24th. And 13. 13, you got to factor this thing. Keep putting this on here because I want you to remember how to factor cubes. So I'm going small, big, cube root, square, multiply, change the sign, square. The denominator is difference of squares, just y plus 1, y minus 1. Flip this one, flipping that one, remember keep change flip. So the bottom is now the top, and if I factor the bottom, which is now the top, it's y plus 1, y plus 1. This up here will not factor at all, so I have y squared plus y plus 1. And I'm just looking for things to to cancel. All right, so I'm gonna cancel some of these things out here. Let's see, the y minus 1's canceled, that y plus 1 cancels. This y squared plus y plus 1, all that stuff's gone. And all that leaves, I'm looking around, all that leaves is that y plus 1 in my numerator. So there you go. Number 14. Square, multiply, double, square. Are you kidding me? Square that. If you square the first term, the square root just goes away. If you multiply these two, you get square root of 15. If you double the square root of 15, you get 2 on 15. And then if you square root of 3, it becomes positive, and you get 3 because the radical goes away again. Don't forget to add the 5 and the 3. Everybody keeps forgetting to do that. So you get 8 minus 2 on 15, as far as you can go. And the last one, number 15, a inequality. When you solve this compound inequality, you solve all 3 sides at the same time. So you're going to add 3 everywhere. That will leave you 4x in the middle, 36 out here, and -21. And I'm going to divide all 3 sides by the 4. If I divide all 3 sides by 4, 36 divided by 4 is 9. -21, 4, so you can't even do that. So you just stop there. I'd like to have your answer in interval notation like this. There's your interval. There you go. All right, hope that wasn't too bad. Obviously, you can rewind. Don't know what that even means. You can skip around as much as you need to. Hope it helps you on your test tomorrow. You're off to a great start. Keep it going. I'll see you tomorrow when you come in and make your awesome grade.